Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our first event of the year. Before we get going, and I introduce you to Alan, who's going to take you through this masterclass that we want to talk about, which is really about business finance. I'd like to make a couple of announcements because there's a few things that we've been doing last year that we're implementing this year, and I think it'll make a big difference to our network, and it'll leave things a lot more structured on what we're doing. The first thing I'd like to announce, so it's a little bit announcing about me right now, is I've just published a book. So I've been meaning to write a book on entrepreneurship and all the things we've been doing in 12 Ronnies for quite a while. Thanks, Bill. And it's I finally found the time to put it together. It's called Expert Entrepreneur. And the reason, or part of the reason I wanted to do this is we've been working with a number of universities in the US and the UK. And it's become quite clear that the curriculum at these universities and these entrepreneurship centers in the universities is quite similar, but there's very little standardization. And I thought it would be quite good to put something together about all the different aspects that we teach in entrepreneurship, but focus on the main skills. So the book covers all of the different things that one would need to look at being an expert entrepreneur, but we're focusing on the real key skills in there. And I'll put a link to the book in the chat. But before I move on to the next topic, what we've also done while launching the book is a fellow founder of 12 Ronnies, Krystman, who's on the call here, has a publishing company, Yolla Publishing. And so what we've done is we've published the book through Yolla, and Chris is offering a 12 Ronnies imprint for the members of our community if they want to publish books, whether they're business books or books that are outside of that field. And he's happy to talk to you about how he can help you get from the stage of writing a book to publishing a book. I don't know whether you want to say a few words, Chris, before I move on to the next part of what we're doing.
Well, only to say it's an exciting time. I mean, we're this is a new company, although I've been in publishing for over 35 years. So I've been around this or what's it? It's not my first rodeo, I think they say in the States, don't they?
Weren't you one of the founders of World Book Day?
Yeah, I was one of the pioneers of World Book Day in the UK, which started in 1996 or 1997. So I've been around a long time. But this is an exciting opportunity for me and for 12 Ronnies, simply because this is and we we're, as I say, we're launching. We've launched Simon's book from the 12 Ronnies website. It'll be generally available very soon. And
but you can help Chris, can't you, with the
oh
publishing?
yeah, totally. I mean, it's right. So I guess get in contact with me. If everybody here is in 12 Ronnies, just drop me a note in Founders and Mentors, I guess, is probably the easiest thing.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, thanks, Chris. The other thing I want to announce that we're doing before we move on to Alan's masterclass is that we're launching an academy. So whereas we've had our community of mentors and coaches helping people start businesses, we're now structuring an incubator to help people not so much launch businesses, but become professional entrepreneurs. Off the back of the book and what we're doing at universities, we're doing our own academy here, which is a 12-month program, part-time or full-time, to help people become professional entrepreneurs. It's all about career transition. We're focused on people that have been employees, that have job experience, not people just starting out. That's the group that we want to primarily focus on. And we want to help transition them really from employee to entrepreneur. And that's what the program is. So that's the big announcement, I guess, of this year. And you'll hear more about it, of how we can help people transition into being professional entrepreneurs. And as part of that academy, one of the things we want to focus on, as well as teaching all the different skills, is the important milestones in developing a business. And that comes with finance. Everybody needs to understand the finances. If you're going to be launching a business, it's an integral part. And with what Alan is going to go through today, and I'm going to introduce you to Alan, he is going to be a key part of what we're doing on the academy on the finance side. So, Alan, I'd like to introduce you. You're a long-time entrepreneur. I don't know how best to phrase that, but you've started many exciting businesses.
I'm ancient.
No, not at all. But businesses in the field of music. I mean, I know that you've done some incredible stuff with bands many of us have heard of. And I know the focus is on finance and business finance. And as a topic, it's not normally an exciting topic. I can't say that finance and accountants are the first people I go to at parties, but you would be one of the first people to go to. So maybe you could tell people a little bit about your background first of all before we jump into the numbers side of things.
Sure. Well, thank you, Simon, and thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be part of this community and to contribute, particularly with the plans for this year. So it's very much appreciated. I suppose that the headlines are that my career falls into sort of three sections. Firstly, being born into and growing up into an entrepreneurial family. Both parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents all owned businesses, and I soaked that up from a very early age. I left school as soon as I could. I couldn't stand school, hated chalk and talk, and started my first business. And to your point, I love music, and so I got involved in the music business, and my first business, then the second part of my career, was 25 years of founding, growing and selling businesses, manufacturing and service businesses. And yeah, if you're inviting me, Simon, to do a bit of name dropping, the companies that I was involved with manufactured really top quality professional audio equipment, very high tech. So amplifiers, speakers, etc. We're involved with Glastonbury for many years. I was the Jam's live sound engineer for several years, and I worked with bands like Pink Floyd and Madonna and Paul McCartney and Blur and Oasis, and got British, good old, sorry, Americans on the call to say this, but got British loudspeakers into Carnegie Hall and Grand Ole Opry, and worked with some top American acts like Joni Mitchell, Frank Sinatra, etc. So that's the end of my name dropping, Simon. Otherwise, we'll be here forever. But
not everybody can drop names like that, Alan. So right. It's wonderful.
Okay, thank you. But the numbers, as we're aiming towards it, is those companies have generated over £250 million worth of sales worldwide. They won several Queen's Awards for export and innovation. And I'm pleased to say, as I think of them, my babies are still out there with new parents, generating around 30 million of sales per year. So I'm very proud of them. And then the third part of my career is over 20 years of supporting over 1,000 entrepreneurs with making their dreams come true. So that's my background. Is that okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's perfect, Alan. That's really good. That's really good. I think it just sets it in context that you've got experience in the business world. It's not that just you've been doing finance for people throughout the years and you're going to talk about business numbers now. It's the fact that you've created businesses, exciting businesses that have generated a fair amount of money.
Yeah, and it's because of the experience that I had with all those entrepreneurs that speaks to your point, Simon, that it's like finance is almost like a dirty word, a little bit of a stigma, like talking about sex or death. And really, it's like, which entrepreneurs, other than people who do seriously want to start accounting businesses or accountancy or finance businesses go into business because they're in love with the numbers, with P&Ls, balance sheets, and cash flow forecasts. But to my surprise over the years, even with relatively large SMEs of up to a couple of thousand people, as I've got to know the founders more and more, I discovered a sense of embarrassment that they've often gone into business and then not really understood the finances, not had formal training. When I heard Richard Branson in his book admit that he didn't understand the difference between gross and net profit until somebody took him aside and explained it while he was already quite far into his career, I thought, I bet I can do something about this. So although my core business is, if you like, turning up to give advice and coaching to get paid, I thought it would be a really good idea, and I did a couple of years of research, to develop an online training course. So it's the first one that I've developed, called The Business of Finance, and it's meant to be by an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs in English. It's only 6 months old, so it's still a new course, and it's an online training course. And shameless plug, I'm here to promote it. That's why I'm here. And therefore, yes, I want to give as much value as I can today, but for those people who stay to the end, there's a discount code for founders and mentors, and also a link if anyone would like to have a free chat with me to discuss their business, etc. So that's what I'm here to do today, if that's okay with you. Yeah, okay. Is it all right to dive in?
Perfect. That's perfect, Alan, and we'll put the links in at the end and just remind people at the end. But yes, please do get started.
Okay, brilliant. So can we start, please, by, I can see I know there are a number of note takers, but everyone on the call, would you mind just putting 2 things into the chat? Where you're from, where in the world you're from, and what you do. What is your business? Just in a couple of words, so I can get a sense of who's with us today. I want to make sure that what I'm going to be covering is as relevant as possible to your business. Go for it. Put it in the chat, and I'll comment in a second. Thank you. Antonella, if I've got your name, Business Consulting. Simon, I've heard of him, Entrepreneur Education. Mark Lader, okay, UK, and if you don't mind adding what you do. Anybody else? Keep going. Must be more than 3. Biz Connecting, that's interesting. Asheville, North Carolina. Okay. Food truck. Yep, thanks. That's Brit. Bill Murray. Wisconsin. Yeah. I had in the days I was involved in pro audio manufacturing, our distribution center was in Madison, Wisconsin. So I got to know Chicago O'Hare coming in internationally, spending ages getting lost in O'Hare to get to Madison on a local flight. So innovation. Thank you. Ireland, Layla. Thank you very much. Rainy Cold London, Craft Gurus, Arts Crafts Educational Space. Okay, thank you very much. Is that Nylan? How do I pronounce your name? Nylan. And do come off mute. We're a small group, so love to talk, and I want to make this as interactive as possible. Luciano, again, if I've got the pronunciation. Yeah, Nylan. Do tell us how to pronounce your name.
Alan, it's Neelangela.
Neelangela. Oh, yeah. Neelangela.
Yeah, good that you asked.
Okay, I'll try to remember that.
Thanks.
Neelangela, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, then we've got, Luciano building, my goodness, nootropic. I've never heard of that. Mental supplements, okay.
We've got some amazing things here, Alan, haven't we?
Really? Amazing. Nootropic, is that?
Nootropic, I think it's pronounced.
Okay. Thank you. I learn something every day. London and Vilnius. My grandfather was born in Vilnius, and I was there last year to give a talk. So I know about Vilnius. Gintas, again, some interesting pronunciations. Afar, my goodness, Glasgow, prostate cancer diagnostic tech. Wow, that's very much in the news at the moment. And Joseph, okay, I know how to pronounce Joseph from Boston. Yeah, and Nilangela. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed for giving me a better background. One more question that I'm going to launch in. And so I'm going to give you a taste of what's in one of the modules. It's a 12-module course. So I'd like you to think that you're coming into my restaurant and I'm the chef and I'm saying, look, here's the menu and there are all these things. And I'd like to give you a taster of one of the dishes on the menu. And it's going to be about finance. And don't rush off. Don't cancel. I'm going to mention it. We're going in. Profit and loss, balance sheets, cash flows. So with all those in mind, and as Simon said, not the most exciting of subjects, please put into the chat if there's one thing you'd like me to cover to do with finance in your business, and I'll do my best to cover it in the masterclass I'm going to talk about. So one thing to do with finance in your business, you'd love it if I could cover. Capital, thank you, Antonella. Yep, capital, good. Next, give me a few more ideas. Can't promise in the short time I'll be able to cover all of them, but I'll do my best. Yep, AFAR, startup forecasting, good. Chris, no, sorry, can't do sales taxes in the USA. I don't cover that. Nice try. Then we've got most important metrics for a startup. Lovely, Simon, thank you. What else? What else? What else? Give me a 2 or 3 more, then I'm going to dive in. Come on, couple more. Don't be shy. Finance in your business. Something, and look, we all feel, everyone, honestly, I work with founders of £20 million businesses that are embarrassed to say they've been told by their finance director they're reading on the balance sheet, and they come out with language and they just keep quiet because they're embarrassed to say they don't understand. EBITDA, great, Brit, and I love your horror emoji that goes with it. Great, will do. Brit, cash flow, brilliant. Keep going, but I'm going to dive in. So the way we're going to do this is I want to introduce you, and I said this is by an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs. Can you see that image? Thumbs up. And Oliver, thank you. I've just seen connectivity. I don't understand what you mean by that, Oliver. Please say more. So let's meet Faith the Florist. I'm going to dive in. There's a lot of information to give you. There are spreadsheets we're going to look at. It's going to get fairly technical and detailed, but I'm going to go at quite a fast pace, and I leave it up to you to put it in the chat or raise your hand or unmute your microphone and say, Alan, I didn't understand that, or Alan, go over that again. Over to you. Otherwise, I'm going to go full speed now, 15-20 minutes, and covering a lot of info. And remember, this is just one module of 12 modules in my self-paced training course. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say before, just to get it out the way, that the price of the training course is £497, but there's a 20% discount for founders and members and mentor community. Okay, so here's Faith the Florist. So yes, it's AI generated. Faith worked for several years as a florist in a florist shop on the high street, and she's a really talented Florist, does brilliant designs, and she got experience in the florist shop watching what the owner did. And for years she thought, aha, one day, I want to do my own thing. I want to have my own shop on the high street. So she started saving money from her employment, and she saved up over several years, and she saved up enough to begin the shop. But when she started to do the numbers, she thought, aha, I'm going to need more. So she got a friend to loan her money as well. And she's very ambitious. So she started her shop with a range of different products and services. And what we're going to be doing in this masterclass is following the story of Faith the Florist in the month leading up to her first month of trading, and then her first few months of trading as she goes along. And we're looking at the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and the cash flow. And you'll be pleased to know that because people are signing up, and I thought this would happen when I designed the course from around the world, and having lived and worked in America and other countries, that I've covered both the UK and US way of looking at P&Ls and balance sheets, which are different. Now, I can't cover the whole world, but those two ways of looking at numbers means that I'm covering much of the world. So you'll see pounds and dollar signs in the numbers I'm going to show you, and from now on I'm just going to talk about numbers. So that's Faith the Florist. And here we go. We're going in. Simon, hold on. This is going to be, you're safe with me.
Go for it. Go for it, Alan. Go for it.
Can you see that?
I can.
And can I ask you, please, Simon, how large and readable are the numbers?
Well, I've got my glasses on, so I can read them. They're my magnifying glasses. I can read them. Yeah, easily. I can see the numbers.
Okay, and I'm going to assume that this is okay size-wise and legibility-wise, unless I see a comment. And thanks, Chris and Oliver, using commercial social media. Thanks for explaining what you mean by connectivity. And Chris, what level of liquid capital is advisable for a company to keep it? Yeah, fine. Thank you. That I can speak to. So we're looking at a very ambitious Faith, and because people are joining up in the course who have different types of businesses, I've had to stretch a little bit what I call the reality of starting new business, because I don't think in reality anybody would start with so many revenue streams, but every single one of these will cover people's businesses of whatever type they are. So in the first month of setup, there are there's nothing coming in. That's why all these numbers are zero from these revenue streams, which I'll explain in more detail. She has to go out and buy stock for her shop, so she spends $4,000 for that. There's no gross profit, nothing sold, no gross profit. And then the key element of my course is that I talk about expenses in functional areas, not in accountancy speak. Now, I want to be careful here, because my first employee in every business I've ever started has been a bookkeeper, and then the second people I take on are an accountancy firm. So I absolutely see them as key to a business success. And however, their language and their mindset is about compliance and accuracy, and we need it at least once a year for taxes and end-of-year accounts. But when they produce numbers, their mindset is about detail. Xero, QuickBooks, all the other accountancy packages talk about detail with a long list of salaries and taxes and all the rest of it, whereas I'm advocating that we entrepreneurs think about our expenses in terms. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm listening to your webinar. Oh, beautiful weather.
Oh, I can hear somebody chatting.
Is it smelling? Yeah.
Yeah, no why.
Well, from body.
No, it actually smells a bit foody.
Blue one?
A bit like food.
So, Simon, do you want to mute that and I'll
Well, that was
carry
quite
on?
strong, this.
Oh, it could be the stir fry smell.
I think it's Oliver Rothschild, maybe, needs muting, possible. Sorry, Oliver, I don't mean to be rude. Hear you chatting. And Mark, thank you for that. ROI, particularly in relation to returning. Yeah, fine, 7.5%, got your point. Yeah, nice, thank you. So my main point here is these are in English. Okay, what are we going to be spending on marketing and sales, research and development, general and admin, and accounting and finance? And therefore, she started her first month with spending these amounts of money to get the business off the ground. So anything in yellow is profit and loss, and she's lost 3,000 in the first setup month because nothing's come in and invoices have come in for these amounts. And I'm assuming here that some invoices are paid after 60 days, and I'm assuming that her overheads and expenses and freelancers are paid after 30 days. Then we're moving on to a UK style balance sheet. We're looking at the end of the setup month. And again, I'm going to go through this quickly. What is a balance sheet? It's a photograph that I recommend looking at once a month of the state of the business. And I use, if you like, an analogy of a car. So I think of this being a speedometer of the speed of the business. I think of a balance sheet as the strength of the chassis of a car. What does it look like? So at the end of the first month, the chassis of the car that Faith is driving is 5,000 in the office furniture and so on that she's had to buy. Stock, we got 4,000 from above. 26,000 of cash. I'll explain where that comes from in a minute. So assets, things that are owed to her, the good news, the positive side is 35,000. What the business owes, there are creditors of 3,000. Why? That's that 3,000 here. And then she got a loan from a friend of £10,000. So she owes £22,000. So at the end of month one, the setup month, her balance sheet is showing £22,000. And it's called a balance sheet because these two things balance. And it changes day to day to day. If I look at a US style balance sheet, it's the same idea, but it's just presented in a different way. You see the dollar signs there, 35,000 on each side, and then those are in blue. So one more time, yellow, P&L, blue for chassis, and a kind of orangey color for cash flow, which is the most important thing. You know, you probably heard turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. So cash is crucial. She started her opening balance sheet with zero. She then put in 25,000 of her own money that she'd saved for several years. She got the 10,000 loan, so that's 35,000 coming into the business, and then going out of the business, £5,000 for capital expenditure, 4,000 for stock, and nothing from trading. So she's down from 35,000 to 26,000. And what I again want to emphasize here is this is English. It's simple. It's a few lines. It isn't pages and pages of detail, which are crucial for accountants and the data entry side of bookkeeping, but we need a dashboard. We're driving a car 100 miles an hour down the road. We don't have time to look under the bonnet. We just want headlines. So now moving on to month one of trading, and here we go. And I'm going to go through this quickly. Month one, she does £12,500 worth of sales, which are made up of those amounts here. she has £7,000 of cost of goods sold, which gives a gross profit of 44%, 5.5k, which means in her first month of trading, she's made £300 profit. I hope that's clear. And that's paper coming in, paper going out. What does the P&L look like? And the question about EBITDA, for simplicity's sake, I've used a simple language of net profit before tax and before founders' takings, because I'm teaching the simple view of P&L, balance sheet and cash flow. For those of you who don't know, there are other ways of measuring profit. EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, EBIT. EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization. I don't have time to go into those in detail, but there are reasons why we look at businesses through those lenses as well. And it is something I cover in the course, because the course also includes 1 hour access to me once a month for a year, as well as a community for a year where those sorts of specific questions can be answered. And here we are. Here's the balance sheet. And I know that I'm going at quite a pace. I'm conscious of time. And after a month's trading, you'll see that the balance sheet has improved by £300, or here you can see $2,500, depending which way you look at it, because the business has proceeded positively. However, look at this, look at cash. And this is a really big point I make throughout the course. The cash coming in from the first month trading, 3,500, where did that come from? Well, what came in? 3,500. Look, plants, flowers, arrangements from the shop, paid immediately. Website, paid immediately. She has an augmented reality, SaaS, software as a service, paid immediately. 2 plus 1, 500, plus 500 is 3.5 grand coming in this month, in month 1. But she thought it would be a good idea to get her business off the ground, to give generous payment terms. So her floral design fees are paid after 60 days. And guess what? That means from a cash flow point of view, her business has gone from 26k to 21,500. Let's look at month 2. And now you've got the hang of it. Again, I know that I'm going at a hell of a speed. You can see, carrying on the picture here, she goes up. Good news. Good news. More profit. Good news. Better balance sheet. Going up. But guess what, folks? You're ahead of me. Look at the cash here. Month 3. The spreadsheets I'm showing you now, by special arrangement with Simon, because of our lovely community, are available to everyone on the call. So these are editable spreadsheets. They're normally part of the course that people pay for, but I'm very happy to give you access to these spreadsheets for participating in today's call, and you can play with these and adapt them to your own business. And what most people who are doing with these spreadsheets are they're sharing them with their bookkeepers and saying, I'd like this type of dashboard, please adapt this for my own business. So month 3, and then we're moving on to a different spreadsheet. You can see the trend, more sales, more profit, better balance sheet. Yes, I know I'm going quickly. I've still got 5 or 10 minutes to cover. And guess what? Cash going down. Okay, so those are the first setup and first 3 months of trading. And I am pushing ahead at a pace, and I want to make sure I leave plenty of time for questions. And now we're going to go on to another part of the course, which are called management accounts. Here we are. So to the point about forecasting and budgeting, which came up earlier, and what amount of capital is needed. So that's going to vary enormously depending on the type of company. For somebody like Faith the Florist, not a lot, because if she's renting her space, if all she needs cash for is her purchases of stock and also equipment, etc., for the office, then on paper, not a lot of capital. If she's going to be giving very long payment terms and being very generous, then arguably she'll need more capital. If it's a business that needs plant, machinery, factory, then it needs much more capital. SaaS businesses, for example, may need friends and family rounds to get to an initial product that is possible to go out there and then launch and then go for Series A and Series B to keep raising money. So that's going to vary. So my answer to the question about how much do we need capital do we need is going to vary enormously according to the type of business it is and what the goals are of the business. I'm dealing with the SaaS business now. We're doing a 6 million raise. They're going for a 50 million valuation in 5 years' time, whereas I'm dealing with a service business that's at 5 million turnover. They're going for only a fairly small amount of increase, and they only need a few 100,000 to accelerate their growth. So goals matter enormously. This is what monthly management accounts look like in my course and what I recommend. And again, it's a dashboard, not the accounting. And you'll see that it's all based around percentages and variances. So as drivers of our car, we're looking standing back from the detail and we're looking overall at how the business is going. That's 1 month, month 5 of Faith the Florist against what she budgeted and her variance. And then we're looking at the same thing again, her year to date. That's 5 months in total. She's done 93 grand. She thought she'd do 98, so she's 6% down. Her gross profit is a bit down, and her profits are down from where she wanted to be. Now she knows she's got some decisions to make. What can she do to increase sales to get back on budget? Or should she cut expenses, or a bit of both? In one relatively simple way of looking at it, dashboard style, not the detail that the brilliant bookkeepers and accountants give us, but for this type of decision making, my argument is we need to more of an overview. And then also, I hope this is English, entrepreneur to entrepreneur language, we can see a trend across the year. Not complicated, I would argue. Relatively speaking, I think every single entrepreneur, no matter what your business, can get their heads around this and speak dashboard like a car driving it. Do we need to understand, driving a car, that our bloody spark plug on the third thing from the left in the cylinder head is doing blah, 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 blah? We don't, that's fine for the accountants once a year. We don't need to know that. UK style balance sheet, I argue we need that monthly. And look, simple, not pages of info, a push button from the accounting software. And then again for US style, same again, simple, a few lines. I'm nearly at the end, now I'll shut up. And cash flow, again, I recommend. There's no such thing as an entirely accurate weather forecast. So we want to get our bookkeeper or accountant, whoever is doing this work for us, away from we need you to be correct. We don't. We just want broadly what are our ranges of temperature looking like, ranges of rainfall. So optimistically, with a positive pipeline, what might our cash look like? And pessimistically, what might cash look like? And in Faith the Florist, we can see, oh shit, it means several months ahead. If she carries on as she is, and more sales or lower expenses, she's going to be in trouble. She doesn't have an overdraft facility, so she can see ahead the bumps in the road. So that ends that. And I hope that gives you a very, very high-speed flavour of what's in the course. I know I'm rushing, Simon. I hope
No,
that's useful.
Alan, that's really useful. And I love the dashboard approach and the color coding with it. It just distinguishes. Otherwise, you see lots of spreadsheets and lots of numbers, and for people that aren't trained, it's really difficult to understand. You just look at the bottom line then, and because there's just so much detail. So I love the way these are dashboards are small and they're color coded. And your example of Faith the Florist reminded me of a business I started once where you were showing the impact of credit terms on the cash flow. And I fell foul of that once when I started a business that was selling to big brands and desperate to have big brands on the books and to do business with them. So companies like Coca-Cola, their standard terms would be things like 60 days. And so I would just accept it because it was, I want a big brand on my books, but it nearly ruined the business because it was such a big part of what was coming in, and just accepting their credit terms without understanding the impact of 60-day credit terms nearly sort of stopped me right at the beginning of that company. So it's being able to see these numbers clearly is important from an entrepreneur's, from a business owner's point of view. Just giving it to the bookkeeper or the accountant and wanting an end of year statement isn't really good enough.
No, exactly. And so, thanks, Simon. We've got time. So can I start to? Is it okay with you if I start to look at some of the questions?
Please go for it, Alan.
And also that maybe things I didn't cover that were mentioned earlier. So, Afar, have I got your name? Please unmute and let me speak to you. We've got time. I'd love to answer your question.
Yes, that's correct. Afar,
thank you. So they're generated like this. We give whoever is doing the numbers for us, and I'm emphasizing that we are unique in what we do, and there are thousands of excellent bookkeepers and accountants that I recommend they do the data and the numbers. So we're giving them this policy. We're saying, here is our gross pipeline figure. And I'm going to make an assumption that we have some idea of what our future sales, our pipeline, marketing, idea of revenue might be over the months ahead. And we're saying to them, for an optimistic view, take 70, as an example, take 70% of the value of that pipeline. And for the pessimistic view, take 40% view of the pipeline. Those numbers are all examples. More risk averse people, entrepreneurs, tend to go lower. They'll say to their bookkeeper 60-20, 60%, 20%. I'd rather be more pessimistic. Companies who are more risk tolerant might go 80-50% of the pipeline. But that way, we're giving a guideline to the bookkeeper. They look at the numbers and they produce the optimistic and the pessimistic. And
so even the optimistic in that case, if I understood this correctly, is not 100%. It's 80% of what you potentially hope to achieve.
Because I would advise. Okay, this is my opinion. I'd advise not going for 100. I mean, if we're PE backed and we have to go for growth and we're being really aggressive, then yes, I would adopt more towards that upper end. But I would say most businesses would go more like 50, 70, 40, 60, etc. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. What else? What else? What else? What? Please shout out. What haven't I covered? Most important metrics for a startup. Startup forecasting. I think I've covered that. What else? Please, we've got 10 minutes. I'm all yours. Anything you like. Don't be shy.
While people are putting questions in or looking at questions, Alan, what would you advise if people are struggling with the forecasting of their numbers? So they can put in the real numbers, but they're struggling, and I don't mean optimistic and pessimistic, but even what they think is their 100% accurate one. And then so if people are struggling with forecasting, is there a way to just simplify it for people that aren't financially literate in that way?
Yes. I would literally, with coloured pens, not even needing to do a spreadsheet, create an image of a pipeline, of a funnel, like that. Draw it, literally, the most basic way of doing it, and then draw a few stages, like horizontal lines. Now, I do have something I can share with this, but I don't think I've got quite time to find it, an example. So I'm happy to follow up with anybody who would like more detail. And the idea is that the top of the funnel are customers or contacts, whether it's B2B or B2C, that are at an early stage. They're at the top. And we're giving amounts of money ascribed to those individual companies or groups if it's B2C then. And we are making a guesstimate, 10 grand, 5 grand, 50 grand. Then we have a second level and a third level, and we're then increasing the percentage probability of those numbers as they move down the pipeline and they come, we hope, into our shop and then look at things. And by shop, I mean I'm talking metaphorically as well as a physical shop. So service businesses this applies to too. And that will give a net pipeline figure, gross and net. And that's the method of doing it. And all that needs to happen is that drawing, literally a drawing with coloured pens, can be shared with our bookkeeper to Afar's point. They can then do the numbers from that.
That makes sense. I love because I'm a picture person, so I love that idea of thinking of it as a funnel and putting it there. Britt's got a question in the chat.
Thank you, Britt. How to enter newly acquired assets year 2 or beyond. I'm not a numbers, want to learn. In recommended learning books or courses. So Britt, if you're happy to please come off mute and speak, could you please tell me a little bit more about what you mean by how to enter in newly acquired assets in year 2 or beyond? I don't understand that part of your question.
I might not understand either enough to even articulate my...
No problem. I'm here to help.
I'm really just, I bought a subscription to QuickBooks and I'm just trying to figure out how to enter everything in. I've actually consulted an accounting firm and felt like they were really talking way over my head. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm a reader. So if you know of any way I can learn really from the bottom how to set up my accounting books and how, just I don't even know.
Why do you want to do it yourself, Britt?
Really just the money right now. I'm trying to use as little money as possible to do everything that I need to do.
Can you afford $100 a month?
That possibly that would be stretching it, but
and please remind me, Britt. Sorry, you may have put it earlier in the chat and I've forgotten. What's your business, please?
Right now I have a coffee truck, and I'm really working on opening a cafe gallery. That's my long-term vision.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my argument. This is what I'm advocating. Okay. I realize it's a big deal in what I'm going to say with the stage you're at right now, but I strongly recommend you sleep on it. I think Britt Vargas is the only person to be running a coffee truck and the only person with a vision of what you want to achieve with a cafe. And you're the person to do that. And every moment of every waking hour to focus on that is something only Brit can do.
It froze. I just missed that. Every purpose of every waking hour.
Is Brit
That's where I
Vargas.
lost.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
okay?
can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Is only something you can do, and that every minute not doing that is wasted. And therefore, your return on investment of $100 a month for a bookkeeper charging $30, $40 an hour, doing 1 hour or 2 hours a month for you, and doing exactly this, the data entry, entering in the assets, because that's what they do every day of the week. They wake up and do Xero or QuickBooks or any of the accounting software, and they will automatically know in a second what to do. And they're not an accounting firm, they're freelance. And I know hundreds of them that love working with startups and charge very little for doing it. Therefore, my advice, don't waste your time reading, learning, getting to grips with accounting. Waste of time.
Okay. I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, I didn't quite answer your question, but I wanted to,
No, but it resonates with me. Yes. I don't need to waste my brain power on that.
Not at all. Really not at all. No. It's like buying a car and then needing to understand how to fix the engine. It's just nuts. Drive the car. Somebody
Yeah,
else
that
do
I
it.
will not even touch.
There you go. There you go. Same thing. Same thing.
Thank you.
But thank you for your question, Britt.
Alan, we're getting to the last 5 minutes. What would be really useful is for you to explain to us how we can get involved with your course, where we can find more information. You know, if you could promote yourself now, please. It's promotion time, Alan.
Okay, watch out. This is sales time. So I have a website, alanwick.com, which you put into.
Do you want me to put it in?
Yes, please. And I'll put into the chat now, if I can find the links, the link to have a chat with me, first of all, and then tell you a bit more about the course, last few minutes. Okay, here we go. Thanks, Antonella, for being here. That's that one. That's a chat. And then there's a link on my website which takes you through to a page, thank you, Simon, on the website, which is about the course. And then here is a special share of the code to get it. And what you get are 12 modules, self-paced, and then 1 hour a month with me live for a year, and a year access to a community where it's managed every day and questions are answered. And in the course, the 12 modules covers what I've showed today in far more detail and much more about finance and business and how to apply it to your own business. and the people who already joined it and signed up, there are testimonials and examples of people on the website who've taken it. So, I mean, that's the short version, Simon, and I'm conscious of time.
No, thank you. I mean, I've got a list of people that have signed up as well as people that have joined. So what I'll do is I'll put that list together and send them that information anyway, as well as the recording, so they can watch the recording and find that information. Is there anything else in the last? Oh, there's another question actually.
Yeah. Sure, because I cover SaaS. Did you see in Faith the Florist? I know it's a bit of a stretch afar, but I covered SaaS and that revenue stream. So in the course, although the course carries on generically using Faith the Florist as our example, there are far more details throughout the modules of all sorts of different businesses, including tech startups. And then if you sign up and you get access to me for 1 hour a month, and Simon, you've invited me to do this, shameless plug, my normal charges are £600 an hour. So already there's £7,000 or £8,000 of value in access to me. Of course, it's shared with others during the year. And then I could, if you come on the course so far, I'd love to have you on it. It means that you can ask specific questions for your tech startup during those sessions as well. I hope that helps.
Brilliant. Thanks.
So Alan, with the discount code, basically the sign up to your whole course is less than £400.
Exactly. I mean, sorry if I sound a bit salesy. I think it's
No,
amazing value.
Yeah.
I wanted to go far and wide. I really do. I'd love it if, over the years ahead, thousands and thousands of businesses sign up. I really think the world needs this and will benefit from it. I genuinely believe that.
Well, I mean, having been being a small business owner, I know how most of us struggle with the financial side of things, and so your advice to Brit anyway just really resonates with me. I want to focus on what I do, not the numbers side of things, but it's important to be able to feed the correct numbers in to your bookkeeper, to your accountant, to your QuickBooks. This has been very helpful for me as well, Alice. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.
And those that are still on the call, if you do have any further questions, because we're going to end it now, feel free. You've got my details. You've got Alan's, but feel free if you can't find Alan's to drop me a message on one of the platforms that I'm on, and I'll try and help you or steer you towards Alan. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining our first event of the year, and I'll follow this up with a contact email. Okay. So Alan, thank you very much, and bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.